Good morning and welcome to Morning Special, your morning energy. I'm your special host, Jennifer Clyde. 부탁드립니다. 7월 28일 Morning Headlines 시작합니다. The European Union's foreign policy chief has proposed a new draft text to revive the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, saying there is no room left for future major compromises. The new chief of Russia's Federal Space Agency, Roscosmos, has announced Russia will opt out of the International Space Station ISS program after 2024 and focus on building its own orbiting outpost. A record-breaking rainfall has caused flash flooding in the St. Louis area, surpassing the city's one-day record since 1915. A 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck the northern Philippines on Wednesday, and the impact was felt in Manila. BTS has been nominated in 4 categories at this year's MTV Video Music Awards. The categories of Best K-pop, Best Choreography, Best Metaverse Performance, and Best Visual Effects.
The European Union's foreign policy chief has proposed a new draft text to revive the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, saying there is no room left for future major compromises.
유럽연합의 외교 안보정책 고위대표가 향후 주요 타협의 여지는 없다고 밝히면서 2015년 이란 핵 합의 복원을 위한 타협안을 제시했습니다. All right, so tell us about this.
Yeah, according to the European Union's Josep Borrell's essay in the Financial Times, he said, I have now put on the table a text that addresses in precise detail the sanctions lifting as well as the nuclear steps needed to restore the JCPOA. He was referring to the 2015 deal called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. He also added, after 15 months of intense, constructive negotiations in Vienna and countless interactions with the JCPOA participants and the U.S., I have concluded that the space for additional significant compromises has been exhausted. Borrell did not provide details about his proposal, but he suggested that time was running out to restore the deal under which Iran limited its nuclear program in return for relief from economic sanctions. Under the nuclear pact, Tehran limited its uranium enrichment program, a potential pathway to nuclear weapons, though Iran says it seeks only civilian atomic energy in exchange for relief from economic sanctions.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the beginning, it begins by saying the European Union's foreign policy chief has proposed a new draft text to revive the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. 여기서는 이제 2015년 이란 핵 합의안을 복원하겠다라는 표현이 사용이 됐는데 revive means to what?
Revive basically means to bring back to life.
Bring back to life.
Yeah, something that was working, it was not working, and then now you're making it working again. Yesterday we talked about bounce back.
Yes.
And to a certain degree, it's got a similar feel. You have something that was started, maybe it's been put on hold for a bit, or it hasn't been used, but then you revive it and you bring it back so that it can be used again.
Oh, for example, such as like the economy or a business or a trend, it could be anything. If it is revived, then you're saying that it becomes active again or even popular again, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, you hear revival often used. Yeah. Certain, music trends can be revived as well. You can even revive your heart. When you have a heart attack, then you restart your heart. You're reviving the heart after someone has a heart attack.
그렇게 보면 restart, 뭐 restore, renew, 혹은 뭐 recover 이 모든 뜻을 다 가지고 있네요. 그래서 뭐 복원하다의 뜻으로 사용이 됐지만 부활시키다, 뭐 소생시키다의 뜻도 물론 가지고 있습니다. And towards the end, there is this expression. They said that there is no room left for future major compromises. What does it mean when you say, hey, there's no room left for something?
Yeah, when there's no room left, you're basically saying, I can't offer you anything else. So when you're talking about negotiations, usually, you're trying to get a little bit extra or get something for a little bit cheaper. And often, the salesperson or someone might say, look, like there's no room left for negotiations or there's nothing more that I can do here. We're at the end of the negotiation. Can't go any further.
네, 그래서 no room left. 여기에 room은 뭐 방이 아니라 약간의 뭐 공간, space 정도로 생각을 하시면 될 것 같아요. 그래서 여기서는 여지가 없다. There is no possibility, right? No room left for something.
And if you want to think of it physically in an image, think of a subway car.
Okay.
And you're trying to get on the subway in rush hour, and it's jam-packed. There's no room left. There's no room for anybody to get on. Or if you think of the subway chairs and you want to sit down, but the seats are all taken. There's no room left to sit.
그렇죠.
There's no room left to get on.
아예 탈 수가 없게 되겠죠. Oh, let's read it one more time. The European Union's foreign policy?
Yeah. The European Union's foreign policy chief has proposed a new draft text to revive the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, saying there is no room left for future major compromises.
And now the second headline.
Here we go. The new chief of Russia's Federal Space Agency, Roscosmos, has announced Russia will opt out of the International Space Station ISS program after 2024 and focus on building its own orbiting outpost.
러시아 연방우주공사인 로스코스모스의 사장은 러시아가 2024년 이후 국제우주정거장 ISS 프로그램을 탈퇴하고 독자적인 우주정거장을 구축하는 데 주력할 것이라고 밝혔습니다. Very interesting. So tell us more about this.
Yeah, Roscosmos chief Yuri Borisov told Russian President Vladimir Putin that the decision to leave this station after 2024 has been made. The comments can be interpreted as Russia is setting a hard line against Western sanctions. Russia, along with other international ISS partners, will certainly opt out of the space station in 2024 if the program ends as currently scheduled. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson issued a statement on Tuesday stating that the agency is committed to the safe operation of the International Space Station through 2030 and is coordinating with our partners. Nelson added that NASA has not been made aware of decisions from any of the partners, though we are continuing to build future capabilities to assure our major presence in low Earth orbit. Also, the space station's design means that the U.S. and Russian segments of the station are interdependent, and it's not clear to what extent the U.S. could maintain its facilities should Russia leave the partnership.
Okay. Now let's quickly take a look at this expression, to opt out of.
Yeah, to opt out of something, you're choosing to do something. And in this particular situation, because it's opt out, you're choosing to go out.
Right.
If you're opting in, then you're choosing to go in. And a lot of times you'll hear this in contract negotiations. I'm a very big sports fan, so there's a lot of contracts in sports where athletes have an opt-in contract or an opt-out contract. So let's say they have a 5-year contract, but after 2 years, they might have an opt-out contract or an opt-out option.
Oh.
And what that means is if they do really well in those first 2 years, then they might believe that they can get even more money than what they originally signed for the 5-year contract.
So although you begin by signing a 5-year contract, you have the option to opt out.
Exactly.
Perhaps, 2 years into that contract.
Yeah. So if you did really well and you feel that you might be able to get even more money as a free agent after just the 2 years, then you're essentially canceling the contract because you're opting out of it. So then you can sign a new contract either with that team or any other team afterwards.
Right. 그래서 opt는 OPT인데요. 옵션을 생각하시면 될 것 같아요. You have the option to either leave or stay, right?
Exactly.
Or to enter even. 그래서 opt out of이니까 뭐 어떠한 단체라고 했을 때 단체에서 탈퇴하다, 뭐 손을 떼다라는 뜻이고 opt in이라고 하면 선택에 넣다, 어디에 들어가다. opt out면은 선택에서 제외하다의 뜻을 갖게 될 수도 있습니다. Alright, so one more time.
The new chief of Russia's Federal Space Agency, Roscosmos, has announced Russia will opt out of the International Space Station ISS program after 2024 and focus on building its own orbiting outpost.
And now, today's third headline.
A record-breaking rainfall has caused flash flooding in the St. Louis area, surpassing the city's one-day record since 1915.
미국 세인트루이스 지역에 돌발 홍수가 발생했습니다. 이는 1915년에 세워진 세인트루이스의 일일 최대 강우량을 뛰어넘는 기록적인 폭우입니다. Wow. All right. So tell us more about these flash floods in the St. Louis area.
Yeah, flash floods have swamped St. Louis area, breaking a century-old rain record. One person was found dead in a vehicle that had become stuck in approximately 8.5 feet of water in western St. Louis. In St. Louis's Ellendale neighborhood, fire personnel checked about 18 flooded homes and rescued 6 people and 6 dogs by boat. The flash flooding seemed to be an unceasing onslaught of extreme weather disasters, with ferocious wildfires, punishing heat waves, crippling droughts, and deadly floods in the United States and across the globe.
와, 지금 강한 단어들이 많이 사용이 됐는데 crippling droughts and deadly floods in the U.S. and across the globe. So it's not only happening in the U.S., but we're hearing about floods, or for example, in Canada, and even in areas in Europe as well, right?
Absolutely. It seems to be that time of year. I mean, even in Korea, we had some pretty heavy rainfall a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure a little bit of flooding here and there. But yeah, this one causing loss of life as well as people being rescued.
네, 특히 이 기후 변화로 인한 폭염이나 뭐 홍수와 관련된 뉴스를 자주 듣게 되는 것 같아요, 요즘. 근데 이렇게 폭우가 쏟아진다거나 뭐 홍수, 물난리, 뭐 침수 등에 대한 기사를 보면은 꽤 자주 등장하는 표현이 바로 이건데요. Flash flooding이에요. Flood라고 하면 홍수라는 뜻이라는 거 알고 계실 거예요. 근데 flash, F-L-A-S-H가 붙어 있어요. So what is a flash flood or flash flooding?
A flash flood happens unexpectedly and very suddenly.
Okay.
So when you think of, there's a superhero called the Flash.
Yeah.
And the reason he's called the Flash is because he's so fast. Yeah. You don't even see him.
Right.
Because he moves so quickly. And in the same sort of way, the flooding here, it's not something where you can project it, where meteorologists and weather people are going to be saying there's going to be flooding here, because nobody knows, because the water came down so quickly in a certain area that it caused a flood that nobody expected.
Yeah, extreme or like severe rainfall could cause rapid flooding in especially low-lying areas.
Exactly.
Yeah, and these flash floods, they could just rip through, sweeping everything before them. Here we have the expression surpassing the city's one-day record. 그 도시의 일일 기록. 여기서는 일일 강우 기록을 뛰어넘었다라는 말이 될 텐데요. Surpass and surpass the city's one-day record.
Yeah, so when you're surpassing, you're passing something, but you're passing it beyond. You're going over and above what the previous record was. So they had a record that was 100 years old since 1915, and the new record of rainfall or the flood, it has passed the previous mark. So it has surpassed it.
And can we have it one more time?
A record-breaking rainfall has caused flash flooding in the St. Louis area, surpassing the city's one-day record since 1915.
다음으로 네 번째 헤드라인 들어볼게요.
A 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck the northern Philippines on Wednesday, and the impact was felt in Manila.
필리핀 북부에서 어제 규모 7.0의 강진이 발생을 했어요. 마닐라에서도 진동이 느껴졌다고 합니다. 이 진동이 마닐라, 이 기사에서도 나오는데 꽤 멀리 떨어진 지역인데도 이 진동이 감지가 됐다고 하네요. So tell us more about this as well.
Yeah, the earthquake struck in northern Luzon, the country's most populous island, at 8:43 a.m. local time, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The agency originally designated the quake 7.1 magnitude before downgrading it to 7.0. Its epicenter was about 13 kilometers southeast of the small town of Dolores Abra province with a depth of 10 kilometers. The earthquake's impact was felt in the capital city, Manila, more than 400 kilometers away, where workers and residents evacuated from buildings and gathered on the street.
So it was felt in Manila, which is 400 kilometers away.
Yeah, so I mean, imagine an earthquake in Busan.
Oh my.
But we feel it here in Seoul.
I don't even want to imagine.
I mean, it's pretty significant.
Yes. So here it says this 7.0 magnitude quake struck an area in the northern Philippines. 자, struck 근데 struck meaning to hit or attack, 강타하다라는 뜻이죠. 그런데 자, 이 충격이, 이 진동이 느껴졌다. 400km 떨어진 곳에서까지, 마닐라에서까지 느껴졌다. The impact was felt. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, so the impact is when you have two bodies colliding, or you have a couple of things that collide into each other. That's an impact, and like we mentioned, when that to be felt in Manila, it had to be a very significant impact for that to happen.
Very much. So impact meaning the force or the effects of this earthquake.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, they registered it as 7.0, and I think we've had earthquakes here in Korea around the 4-point-somethings, which sometimes, you can feel something. You're like, what was that? And then you realize later on in the day,
it was an earthquake.
It was like, oh, we had an earthquake. That's what that was. Whereas when something is 7.0, you know exactly what it was. Yeah.
All right. And can we have it one more time?
A 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck the northern Philippines on Wednesday, and the impact was felt in Manila.
And now let's go over our final headline.
BTS has been nominated in 4 categories at this year's MTV Video Music Awards. The categories of Best K-pop, Best Choreography, Best Metaverse Performance, and Best Visual Effects.
방탄소년단이 올해 MTV의 비디오 뮤직 어워즈에서 베스트 K-pop, 베스트 안무, 베스트 메타버스 퍼포먼스, 베스트 시각 효과 등 4개의 부문에서 후보에 올랐습니다. So they've been nominated again for Best K-pop and in other categories as well. So good for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, some good news, by the way. Although with only 4 categories, maybe it's bad. You kind of expect them to win everything these days. But yes, indeed, the band is again nominated for Best K-pop, an award the band has won for the past 3 years for Yet to Come, The Most Beautiful Moment, which is the lead track from the band's first anthology album, Proof, that dropped this year. The band is also nominated for Best Choreography with its Permission to Dance, that was from 2021, and Best Metaverse Performance for its Minecraft performance, and Best Visual Effects, jointly nominated with Coldplay for their hit collaboration song, My Universe, also from last year. BTS's third English language single, Permission to Dance, has 6 other songs it's competing against for Best Choreography, including Doja Cat's Woman, Harry Styles' As It Was, and FKA Twigs featuring The Weeknd's Tears in the Club.
Some very big names, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Including BTS.
Including BTS. 네. 이렇게 BTS가 올해 1개 부문도 아니고 4개 부문에서 이제 후보에 올랐는데요. They have been nominated 하면서 BTS has been nominated 이렇게 시작하는 기사였었죠. 그러니까 후보에 올랐다, 후보로 선정되었다. Be nominated. You could also be nominated in a category, right?
Absolutely. So when you're nominated for something, you're being considered. You haven't won yet, but you're a finalist. People are considering you might be able to win. Whereas if you're not nominated, you can't even win.
Right.
So we often see this with the Academy Awards. You can also talk about presidential elections, things like that. You need a nomination before you're able to actually win.
So, be nominated까지 챙겨주시면 좋을 것 같습니다. Let's have it one more time.
BTS has been nominated in 4 categories at this year's MTV Video Music Awards. The categories of Best K-Pop, Best Choreography, Best Metaverse Performance, and Best Visual Effects.
And that is a wrap for today's morning special headlines.